Hi, good evening or good afternoon. It's a John Gaunt show. The Sydney Bondi Beach terror attack. At least they're calling it terrorism. But why are we in the West so weak on terrorism? The barbarians are no longer at the gate. They're living next door to you, perhaps. And that's the problem. It's time to get tough. If you've got a view, I want to hear from you. This is the John Gaunt Show. Let's get cracking. Tonight, we are live after what the Australian government has confirmed almost immediately as a terrorist attack at Bondi Beach. A targeted anti-Jewish act of violence carried out in public as nighttime fell in Sydney. So let's stop dancing around the truth. This was terrorism. Islamist terrorism, and it hasn't come out of nowhere. At least Australia at last are facing up to this and calling a spade a spade. Imagine if this was in London, we'd be waiting days to know whether or not it was terror and Islamist, etc., etc., etc. But the Australians have been as weak as we have in terms of the threat. They've had these ridiculous demonstrations by middle-class morons. Oh, I'm for Palestine. Really? You wait until you're on top of a 16-story office block and they're pushing you off for being gay. Have you seen those ones? Queers for Palestine. What a load of cobblers. And they've had demonstrations just like us. Their Jewish community are living in fear, just like us. And what do the politicians do? Well, of course, any minute now they'll be saying, please sing Kumbaya and don't look back in anger. Well, I'm not with Oasis. I'm with Morrissey on this one when he wrote that song saying, I am looking back in anger. I'm not just looking back in anger, I'm looking forward in anger. And my anger is directed at the politicians around the globe in the West who are basically allowing the invasion, the capitulation of our Western democracies to these barbarians. And when I talk about barbarians, I'm obviously not saying every Muslim. I'm saying the Islamist nut jobs. It's got to be weeded out of their community. And we've got to go the whole hog. Maybe we've got to do what President Trump's saying. There are certain countries that he's not going to allow into America or for you to migrate from. Is it time for us to do that? Look at the boats. The boats were back yesterday. 900 people, 900 flip-flop warriors who Keir Starmer hasn't got a clue who they are, came into our country again. How long before we're attacked? Would you go to a Christmas market at the moment? Of course you wouldn't, because everybody, not just Jewish people, are living in fear. And we shouldn't be. This is Great Britain, or if it's Australia, this is the West. We shouldn't live like this. And if it is just a minority, why don't the majority weed them out? Because I don't want to keep on living like this. I don't want to light a candle, sing Kumbaya, and not look back in anger. I'm flipping angry. Are you? Write your comments in the comment box and we'll come to you as soon as we can. This morning, Starmer put out a load. He's just such a moron, this bloke. Such a Dalek. He put out tweets this morning wishing everybody a happy Hanukkah, right? They were obviously scheduled to go out. But when he heard about the atrocity, wouldn't you have pulled them? No, not Starmer. He just carries on. Not only that, he obviously told all his lick-spittle MPs who have all got the backbones of an amoeba and thankfully are going to be out of a job in about 3 or 4 years' time, they all posted the same tweet. Happy Hanukkah, everything's wonderful, peace in the world. Well, there was no peace in the world on Bondi Beach when these Islamist maniacs were shooting people right across the beach. They knew it was a festival. They were shooting children. They were shooting adults. As I say, they're barbarians. They do not live by our standards. They are savages. And I'm not too afraid to call it. I'm not calling all Muslims that. I'm saying anyone who thinks it's a legitimate act of war to go with pump-action shotguns guns down to Bondi Beach and start shooting Jews, I'm afraid that's the act of a savage. That's the act of a barbarian. Just like October the 7th. That was the act of savages, the acts of barbarians. And we should be calling it for what it is. But what do? We appease. We allow these people, even now in London, and I believe it's been happening in Sydney as well, we allow them to march on the streets. No. Keep your conflict in the Middle East if that's where it's at. And I'm telling you something else. We need people to be brave and stand up. Well, I'm going to be, well, I'm just me. I stand with Israel. If I have to make a choice between the Islamist barbarians, savages, and Israel, the only democracy in the region, I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I'm with Israel. They're fighting a fight for us all in a way. Just think it through, guys. What happens if we don't crack down? And like I keep saying, it's about, there's a thing here that links this. The Muslim Pakistani rape gangs. Stop hiding behind, oh, well, it's not all of them. We know it's not. But let's root out the ones that it is. Let's look at the terrorism. Let's look at the fact that you can't go anywhere now without worrying about a terrorist attack. I don't want to live like this. And today, Keir Starmer puts out that insensitive tweet. Then his Home Secretary is on Laura Kuenssberg. I mean, the BBC are an absolute disgrace. The Laura Kuenssberg show today, they interviewed the Home Secretary. Why? What's the point if they weren't really going to go into this subject? It broke as they went to air, but they still put two pre-recorded interviews out. One with some woman who's in charge of, I can't remember what it was. It was something which is kind of important, but not that important, when innocent civilians are being murdered in their swimming trunks on Bondi Beach. And then they had an interview with Kate Winslet, basically a plug for the film she's just directing. Both pre-recorded, both could have been left out, and they could have had more discussion about what's going on. But the point is, they're not that bothered, because the BBC are all lefty, liberal. Oh, Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine. Look at their coverage. They've been done for bias on it. So they don't give an SH1T. Now, listen, I'm not saying that Israel haven't been over the top. Yes, they have. But who caused October the 7th? I'll tell you who. Hamas. Who didn't have elections for 14 years? Hamas. So don't give me all this guff. Who puts weapons amongst civilian populations in Gaza? I'll tell you who. Hamas. Why do you want to see Jews as always the enemy? And then in our country, we had the mosque attack, not the mosque attack, the synagogue attack. It's all gone quiet there, hasn't it? And now it's Hanukkah. What is he going to do about it? As far as I understand it, it's about 8 days of celebration. And also, it's not a surprise they did it at this time of year, so they could also scare the living daylights out of us about Christmas. The barbarians are inside the gate. We need to get tough. I saw the end of the one. Axel Rudikabana. We were told by the government he wasn't a Muslim. This weekend, I've been reading newspaper reports saying he's getting talks from an imam who's trying to de-radicalise him. I thought he wasn't a Muslim. Make your fucking mind up, will you? And also, now he's having phone calls. Now he's allowed to mix with other prisoners. They're even thinking of giving him a kettle again. Oh, what's wrong with that, Gaunt? He might want to make himself a cup of tea. Yeah, he might want to pour boiling hot water over another prison guard. He deserves nothing. I'll tell you one thing he deserves. That's it, the Saddam shuffle. This country, the West, we are so weak. Why are we being like this? Why are we allowed? It goes down to even little things like Don't bring your backward, stupid things like burqas into the West. We don't want it. I see Darlington are banning, they've got yobos on scooters and they've banned balaclavas, but they've made a specific point in public that it's not banning. This is Darlington Council, I think. They're not going to ban the hijab, the veil. Oh, why is that? Oh, would that be special treatment again? Absolute nonsense. The worse this is, these Islamists, and I'm talking about the Islamist extremists, the worse they behave, the more they get. That's how it appears to me. And meanwhile, we've still got people coming across who we don't know who they are. Are they terrorists? I don't know. We know they're smuggling in Class A drugs now. And then I want to come back to the main point of today. Why are we allowing Jewish communities in this country and in Australia to be under a constant threat? In fact, it's right across the Western world. Why the Jews? Why? I don't get it. By the way, I'm not Jewish. Why do governments only get tough after there's blood all over the beach, all over the sand, all over the pavement, all over Manchester Arena? Oh, let's sing Kumbaya, my friend. Let's light a candle. Let's all draw bees. Let's all get on. Let's not get angry about it. Whatever we do, don't get angry. Let them wreck the West. Why is Islamist extremism still treated? Because I bet you I get banned with this video. Mark my words. Why is Islamist extremism still treated like a conversational minefield instead of a security threat? We should be openly able to talk about it. And Muslims should welcome that because they don't want these Islamist extremists in their community, do they? And also, finally, when did protecting feelings start to matter more than protecting lives? So this isn't even about the Jewish community in the end. It's not even about race. It's not about ordinary Muslims who are getting on with their lives, sending their kids to school, earning a living. It's about an extremist ideology that hates Jews, hates the West, hates every aspect of our very way of life, but then is clever enough to exploit our liberal weaknesses. But terrorism doesn't stop because we're polite. It stops surely when we start being honest. So if you're tired of euphemisms, excuses, and spineless leaders like Starmer and the rest of them before him, who are always reviewing and telling us it'll never happen again until it does, you're in the right place. I want your views. I want your opinion. Join the debate. Speak freely, but keep it within the law, obviously. And don't let anyone ever tell you that asking these questions makes you the problem. Because you and me, we're not the problem. We just want to get on with our lives. We want to celebrate, if we're religious, our religious festivals. We want to have a peaceful Christmas. If you don't want that, fuck off out of our country. And politicians, Starmer, you included, get tough on our borders. None of these rapes, including the dreadful rape of that 15-year-old girl in Leamington Spa, would have happened if you'd done your job properly and secured our borders. You've got to ask the question, why doesn't he do it? Why doesn't he do it? And I think it's pretty bloody obvious. He hates us, but somehow he likes these Islamist nut jobs in all their shades. How long before we have a terror attack? We've had rapes, we've had murders, we've had sexual assaults, we've had women having a screwdriver through their head 19 times in Warsaw. How long before we have a terror attack? If we haven't had one already, coordinated by the flip-flop warriors who he's letting in at Dover. Why? Why, oh why, oh why? If you're angry or if you've got solutions, I want to hear them. Let's get going now. with your views. That's 14 minutes of me. Now I need lots of you. Feel free to comment. Also, press the like button. Very important you press the like button. It helps the algorithm. Don't forget now, we're over 2 million views. It's all down to you lot helping. And also, if you'd like to donate, press the $sign and donate a few quid to keep these going or to pay my legal bills when stormtroopers kick down my front door and try to drag me away and put me in prison for hurty words whilst they still allow terrorist scum, potential terrorist scum, to get into our country in their flip-flops and give them hot and cold running benefits and indeed squeezy soap in 4-star hotels. The world is a joke. We should unite with decent Aussies and tell our leaders we want leadership, we want courage, we want spine, we want a backbone. Are you with me or against me? Always, you can donate also from www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. If you're new to the show, if this is the first time you've seen me, I always do shows Monday to Thursday at 6 o'clock here. Of course, they're on YouTube, on John Gaunt TV, so you can pick them up whenever you want. But if you want to watch live, that's the time to join in normally. But I also do shows, extra shows, when something gets my goat, and that's what this one is. So here we go then. Niven Casey, he's a regular. Unfortunately, John, the West has been encouraging this with its appeasement and sticking its head in the sand. The horse has long bolted, I'm afraid. Yeah, but we've got to do something about that, my friend. Don't look him back in anger, says Niven as well. I'm with Morrissey. I'm looking back in anger now. Oh, I'm with you, Niven, on that one. Craig Mawson, hi, John. Totally agree with you about everything you've said. Thank you. Cumbrian Mackham 9296 on YouTube says, sadly, it's only a matter of time for UK and Europe, says John. Well, I agree. We're being invaded on all fronts. The dingy flip-flop boys, people. There's even people who are born and bred and educated in this country who hate our country. I tell you what I'd do. Overnight, all of those Palestinian marches stopped. Absolutely stopped. Finished. And if that means we have to break a few schools and there's some riots, so be it. Chief constables who won't allow Jews to go and watch their football team play. No, that has to stop. MPs are elected to represent Coventry, but spend more time in the Gaza bloody strip. Yes, Zara Sultana, you fruit and nutcase. I'm talking about you. The Coventry public didn't vote for you to do that. There's plenty of problems in Coventry for you to look at, darling, if you don't mind me saying. Mind you, should probably get effective. Shut up, John. David Katie, World War III has begun. It's not Russia who are a threat. It's Islam. Christianity is under threat all over the world. It's time to stand up. I wouldn't say it's Islam. I would say it's the Islamists. I would also, though, agree with you. They've been trying to tell us all week, haven't they, that we're under threat from Russia. I don't think so. I don't think the Russians eat their babies. I don't think Putin's a nice guy. I think he was wrong to invade Ukraine. But there's no way he's going to go to war with us. What a load of bollocks. What you should be more concerned about is the deals that slippery Starmer is doing with the Chinese. They've got the biggest Chinese takeaway ever. It's all our industry. It's all our brains. It's all our clever kids. That's what's going on. If the West and Europe don't start uniting to fight Islam and close immigration, we are cooked, says Layla Miller 8201. Again, I haven't got a problem with the actual religion of Islam. You do whatever you want. I've got no time for it. I've got no time for the Jewish religion or even the Christian religion that I was brought up in. I'm finding it most amusing at the moment, the way loads of right-wingers are copying what they're doing in America and saying, oh, let's go to church. What a load of cobblers. Huh? Do whatever you want to do. But if you want to do it, go and do it. I don't mind. I think your holy books are rubbish. All of you. The Bible, the Torah, the Quran, right? Don't try and force that down my throat. I haven't got a problem with it. I want to live in a liberal democracy. That's what I want. I don't want to be told what I have to believe. I don't even care if you... Oh, that's the thing, the BBC. I've got to tell you about this. The BBC today thought it was more important when at least 12 Australians were dying in the sand, shot by Islamist madmen, they thought it was more important to have an interview with some woman about trans rights. And it was basically about, oh, it's so wrong that men with cocks in frocks can't go in women's toilets. Well, I'm sorry, that's a one-line debate, and it's already been done. The Supreme Court has already said a woman is a woman and a man is a man, and it's about biology. It took her ages to get there, but that's what the BBC ran an interview, and it was a pre-recorded interview. I thought the BBC had thousands of journalists around the globe. They went eventually towards the end of the programme. This is on Laura Kunsberg, their top programme. This is why they need defunded. They went eventually to a woman in Sydney. She'd obviously only just got there. I knew more about what was happening on Sydney Beach by watching GB News and by looking on the internet than this daft bird did. She knew nothing. Where's their so-called highly skilled journalism? Where was it? Nowhere to be seen. Well, it was safely behind all the barriers. That's where it was. What's this? Literacy is freedom. Yes, protests have been happening at all Sydney landmarks, e.g. the Opera House, the Harbour Bridge, and now Bondi. Thank you very much indeed for your comment. If you are watching in Australia, I know it's late there now, but I have got quite a few Australian viewers, listeners. Write a comment. Would love to know how it's going down over there. Terribly, I would imagine. Ronnie Hurst, our governments are too weak. Unless they get attacked, then, oh, no, you can't do that. No, hold on a minute, Ronnie. Even when they did get attacked at Westminster, the Westminster attacks, nothing happened. Even when David Amos, the Tory MP, got killed in his own constituency office by an extremist, nothing happened. They don't seem to understand the threat. They don't understand it. And you've got to ask why. Why are they doing this? Let's move on. We should try to detoxify. We think of people who aren't like us, was the reaction of Labour MP Lola McAvoy today. This is Jim Garfield. Yes, Jim, I saw this. She says that communities should come together to celebrate each other. And then in capitals, he's written unbelievable. You are absolutely right, Jim. I nearly smashed my computer up when I read this morning. She said this after the attack, not before the attack, after. It won't be long before Starmer will probably address the nation about Australia, because before he addresses the fact that we've had madmen killing people in this country. They're all spineless amoebas, and I'm hearing from my Australian friends that's what they think of the Australian Prime Minister at the moment as well. Why do all these people want to go to a wonderful country like, I've never been, I want to go, a wonderful country like Australia, or indeed the United Kingdom, if they don't want to fit in? Run this one past me again. I don't get it. Why do you want to come to a liberal democracy where we actually think, girls and women can wear what they want, they can get educated? We don't actually. If you had a vote tomorrow, the majority of people in this country would be against the burqa, but everyone's scared stiff of actually saying it anymore because we've got Starmers, free speech, stormtroopers. What a state we've got in. We're the nation that liberated the world, and indeed with help from our Australian friends and our friends in the Commonwealth and on the Asian subcontinent. How have we cut ourselves now to a place where we're scared of a few people in flip-flops? We shouldn't be. Syria is threatening to invade Israel, even after Trump thought he could make Giuliani a man of honor. Islamists will never, ever go to be peaceful with anyone. Thank you for your comments. David KT, the Trojan horse has already arrived. I saw that comment, and ties in with the guy who says the horse is already bolted. It certainly has. It certainly has. They're inside the gates. And not only that, some of these people control or are at the top echelons of our society. I don't mean that they're Islamists themselves. I mean, they hold sympathy for these people. We've got MPs. The MP who stirred the pot in Birmingham. I'd like to check his hard drive and find out what he's involved in. How have we allowed this to happen? That's what I'm really talking about this afternoon. Fluker Tony has just donated £5 on YouTube. He's done that simply by clicking the little dollar sign underneath the screen and sent me a £5. Thank you very much indeed. If you'd like to do that, please do. It doesn't have to be a £5. Could be less, it could be more, whatever you can afford. Or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. Thank God we've got independent broadcasters. We've now got the internet. Thank God for, Elon Musk is lots of things. But without Elon Musk, you wouldn't know what was going on. I got all my information this morning from X. Much quicker than I'd get it from the BBC or anyone else. There was some horrible stuff, like some people were reposting the actual bodies on the floor, and I took a look at that, and that's all I needed to know. So I think, sometimes we've all got to be a bit more use taste and decency, but the BBC weren't even reporting it. The BBC were talking about men in frocks with cocks, what toilet they should use. It's like, it's a big priority in my life, that is. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. The establishment class want to talk about that, mainly because I suppose most of their mates are trans. I don't know what it is. But surely today, the BBC should have gone to Rolling News with Laura Kinsberg. It's just beyond me. It is just beyond me. Over on GB News, where they've got no resources, no money, no real correspondents out in the field, there's Mark White. They dragged him out of bed, and he's giving the analysis. At least they're telling us what's happening. I give up. Problem is Western imperialism, not terrorism, idiot. Oh, I wondered when we'd get one of you lot on. This is somebody who's so sure of his opinions, or her opinions. They're called Li1431. Oh, yes. It's an anonymous account on YouTube who thinks that all the problems in the world are Western imperialism. That's the soundbite they've got in their very pea-brain-like imagination. Now, of course, Western imperialism does take some of the blame. But if you think what happened in Sydney today was down to that, and you're justifying it like that, I'd have you up against a wall and shot, well, metaphorically speaking, as soon as possible. I certainly would have you out of my country. What a filthy thing to imply. I don't know whether other people agree with me. He says the problem is Western imperialism, not terrorism. Idiot! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Then a load of emojis. They scare me. Well, hey, scare me. What does that mean? I don't understand. Wendy and Junior. Craig Marston, I think Starmer is in love with an Islamist. No, don't be silly. Literacy is freedom. Thank you, mate, he says. I guess that's from what you said before. Thank you. Oh, we are. So Layla Miller, 8201, is now answering that idiot a minute ago. The one who was Lily 1431. If Western countries are so imperialist, then why do people flood the West looking for hope and prosperity? Brilliant response. What's it? Leela Miller. Stop blaming the West for the crimes of Islamic tyranny. What a brilliant comment. You can give out the crayons at the next meeting of the John Gaunt Club. Thank you very much, Layla. Very good point indeed. Tony Ryan, at this rate, Oasis royalties will outdo Noddy Holder's Christmas song. You're right. You're right. You're right. I understand exactly where you're coming from. I thought Morrissey had the best answer to that. Have you heard his song? I am looking back at Agar. I thought it was brilliant. He's just the best. He's an awkward little sod sometimes, isn't he? But he is one of the poets of our generation. By the way, did you see Last Christmas last night? I was at home alone last night. Lisa was out babysitting, so what did I watch? Oh, I'll tell you what I watched. Buddy something, that new program with Doctor Who in it, Matt Smith. Have you seen it? It's outstanding. It's some of the best telly I've ever seen. I can't remember the whole title. It's the death of Bunny somebody. His name's Bunny. Wow. And Matt Smith, I never realised what a brilliant actor he was. So I watched that. Then I watched 3 episodes. I sort of binged on it. And by the end of that, I was kind of emotionally drained. So I wanted some rubbish to watch. So I watched the making of Last Christmas, the Wham song. And I tell you what, George Michael, he comes over as a decent man, doesn't he? Gave all his royalties away to it for Live Aid and all that. It's a bit of fluff. It's all right when you've had half a bottle of red, which is what the situation I was in last night. Anyway, Denise Eakin. Hello, Denise. The appeasement of radical Islam is beyond a joke. There is one threat to us, and that is radical Islam. When are the idiots running this country going to realise it? I'm still hearing from the left that the far right are the biggest threat. It makes me want to scream. It's not just in this country, though, is it? Obviously, it's happening in Australia too. The Jews are like a canary in a coal mine. That's a very good way of putting it. Thank you very much indeed, Pete Ainsworth on Facebook. Coming to a city near you, says Matthew Ward. Well, unfortunately, Matthew, I have to agree with you, and that's a really depressing thought, isn't it? Somebody said to me, where was I? It must have been Friday night. Oh, have you been? That's my brother-in-law. He says, have you been to the Birmingham Christmas market? No. Why not? Not interested. Why not? Because it's full of security, isn't it, Mike? Yeah, it is. Armed police, bollards and all. But he said there's nothing in it anyway. He said there was one stall selling overpriced wooden decorations. And the rest of it was wall-to-wall hot dogs and beer. I don't know. There'll be another terror attack before Christmas, won't there? What's this? Leontel 7251 on YouTube. John, I hope you have a good solicitor for when the Starmer police turn up. Oh, I've got a very good solicitor. My very good friend is human rights lawyer. He would love this as a test case, I'm sure. I'm not scared of Starmer. I'm not scared of him. Who is he? I mean, he got elected on a pack of lies. Want to take me up on that? I'll see you in court. Let's challenge that. See whether I'm right, see whether I'm wrong. But thank you for your thoughts. It'll be free the Gaunty one. Mind you, have you seen all those? Are they Palestinian supporters, Hamas supporters? They're on hunger strike. Somebody asked me on Twitter, don't you care? No. I don't care that they're on hunger strike. I don't want them to die. I don't want anyone to die like that. But am I losing sleep over it? Maybe that much. No, not even that much. It's nonsense. But I would go on hunger strike. I reckon I could last quite a long time. I've been storing it up for years. Anyway, if you want to help me out, come on, let's have some donations. We haven't had, we've had one. We need some more. Just go to the $, click it, and donate whatever you can. Right, where are we going next? I agree that the Starmer regime will try to come after you, John. They don't like GB News either. If you stand up for the people, the establishment don't like it. Correct. They don't like it up them, Captain Mandarin, that's for sure. Lynn Lockett, we've got a weak leader. Lynn, you get the Stating the Bleeding Obvious award today. I'm not having a go at you, but you're so right. In America, BLM, Black Lives Matter, is trying to cancel the song Jingle Bells because they say the song is racist. I am sick of this bullshit. How can Jingle Bells be right? Anybody know any more about that? Lady Miller, 821-201. Give me a bit more info on that. They're trying to ban Jingle Bells. Why? Unbelievable. Starmer is going to China in January. He's probably taking notes on communism. He loves the Chinese, doesn't he? He's allowed them to build that big embassy right where we send all our secret messages. Then we're told by the defense boss, oh, if you're a soldier, when you get in a car, don't talk about anything confidential or anything that's happening on the army base. Why? Because the cars are listening to you. So are your mobile phones. Oh, and where are all these things made? Would that be China? But no, Russia is the threat. I've got a Russian phone. It works on Steam. Craig Mawson, John, I agree with you about Palestinian marches. Me and my daughter got caught up in one. Thank you. Christians in Africa facing persecution from Islamists. That's very true. Not just persecution, getting murdered and raped. When Jews face the same persecution in Africa, Israel sent in forces and rescued them. Well, we should send them in then, shouldn't we? And then he says, John, you're wrong about Christian beliefs. No, that's my view. I think it's rubbish. But you've entitled to your view. I wouldn't say you're not allowed to be a Christian, just like I wouldn't say you're not allowed to be a Jew. I wouldn't even say you're not allowed to be a Muslim, a Hindu, a Sikh. You can be whatever you want. You can be a Star Trek religion, whatever. What was that? Vulcans. You do whatever you want. I don't care. But don't make out that I've got to bow and scrape to you. And that's why I want the House of Lords. It should be de-infested of all those bishops. What the fuck are they doing there? What's it got to do with them? Anything? Huh? Be all right if bishops were looking after the Church of England, but they can't even weed out the perverts amongst them, can they? You seen that story about that Smythe guy? It's disgraceful. Disgraceful. Denise Deacon, I'll tell you what, we're getting a big response today. Thank you very much indeed. John, I've no doubt there are those of the Islamic faith who want to live peacefully, but they need to speak up more against the extremists. I think the problem is, I spoke to somebody who's a Muslim about this, and he said, well, it's not like the Church of England where you've got, or even the Roman Catholic Church, where you've got somebody at the top and there's a hierarchy. He said, basically, imams can be set up anywhere, and these people have power over that local community. So people are scared to speak out. And I hadn't thought about it that way round. Mind you, see, when you think about the Church of England, and indeed the Roman Catholic Church, I'm sorry if this is going to offend you, but it's the truth, isn't it? They haven't done very good at regulating themselves and weeding out the perverts. It's worth thinking about, isn't it? John, can I change the subject as I'm concerned about your health? No, you can't. That's an interesting thing you're talking about. We'll do a nostalgia show one day, but it won't be now, all right? So no, you can't change the subject. You want to change the subject? You set up your own YouTube channel and don't make any money. Like me. I was in Sydney and on Bondi Beach in 99 and never saw any Muslims. How times change. I didn't know they went to the beach. I've seen them in Dubai where they go in and the blokes are there in night. I saw one bloke. That's why Lisa will never go to Dubai again. She got really angry. We're in this beach club thing. All the beaches are artificial anyway, aren't they? And there was a guy and he was dressed like George Michael. He had the white tight shorts on, got the shuttlecock down there. The vest, is smoking a fag constantly, thinks he's Omar Sharif, yeah, and he's got two women. I don't know if they were his wives or his wife and his daughter. I don't know what it was, but they're in the full burqa and they're trying to paddle. And I thought, no, this ain't right. This isn't right, is it? That's not civilized. Anyway, just my view. The Australian Islamic Organisation have already put out a statement about Islamophobia because of the recent events on Bondi Beach. It's unbelievable, says Layla Miller. Yes, it is, Layla, but that's the way it is. I was wondering when the first MP here is going to say, now listen, there's a rising tide of Islamophobia and we condemn all religious attacks. It was like straight after the mosque, the synagogue was attacked, and that bloke killed people, we're straight into, oh, no, but look at the rising tide. And, oh, here we go, 10 million quid for the Muslim community to up their security. They had a mosque that was attacked. I'm not condoning it. It was a disgrace in somewhere called Peacehaven, was it? Nobody died. Nobody got injured because nobody was there. But it got attacked. And I condemn that. It's wrong to do that. But they put it on the same moral plane, as far as I could see, especially the BBC, as the murder of Jews in a synagogue. That's what we're up against. Fluka Tony donated £5. Oh, thank you. I mentioned you already. But thank you, mate. It's just come up on the list now. Starmer is more concerned about Ukrainians than British people. John, and Russia poses zero threat to our country. Oh, thank you for agreeing with me. Nick Robinson couldn't help himself. Oh, that's that little twat of Radio 4, isn't it? I urge you to think of the impact on the Muslim and indeed the wider community of the Christchurch mosque attack in New Zealand. Unbelievable. He did say that almost as soon as it's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. One day they'll wake up from this dream. It'll be when Nigel Farage becomes Prime Minister and takes all the funding from the BBC and they try and get a job in the real world. Starmer will blame the far right for the Bondi Beach massacre. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. Apparently, this Bondi massacre is the worst massacre here since the Port Arthur massacre in Tasmania in the 90s. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I don't even know the Port Arthur massacre. So if you can give me some details on that, I'll look it up at the end of the show. Fraser Ford's put a thumb up and given me a red heart. Warwick Milne says it's long overdue that we say no more mosques, no more hills, no more secular schools, no burqas on the streets. It's simple. Yeah, although I don't think we have to stop all of religious schools just because of the behavior of certain Muslim schools, do we? We don't close down, well, we have done actually, but Catholic schools or Church of England. If you want to send your kid, I mean, I don't think it's a good idea. I went to a Church of England school. I don't think it was a good thing. I don't. I've got to be honest with you. It's good to meet people from a different news. Anyway, it's up to you. Just listening to Morris's song for the first time, says Tony Ryan. Thank you, Tony. And he says, actually, I'm not. Alexa won't play it. Funny that, yeah. John Ryan, Tony Ryan again says, John, these are the actual words of my great uncle's commemorative scroll. He was killed in 1941 in the Atlantic. I can't see that because on this StreamYard thing that I do the podcast and it doesn't allow any attachments to come through. Denise Deacon is saying, in America, they're trying to, Black Lives Matter are trying to ban jingle bells. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. They say jingle bells is racist because of the bells worn by slaves. Don't be daft. What, when they were running away to stop them, a bit like they do with cats? That's just nonsense, Denise. That's not, it's not a slave song, is it? I know some of the others are, but that isn't. Anyway, I give up. John, I hope you've joined the Free Speech Union. Starmer's addicted to collecting air miles. Yeah, you might be right. Find joy in little things and be happy and laugh at things, says Fraser Ford. They can't take my happiness away. They'll tax it soon. That's something different. Tracy Squire. I'll read your thing out in a minute. What's happened today? You've all getting an extra show. It's not costing you anything. And no one's thought, well, I'll just give Gaunty a fiver. I'll chuck a fiver in the hat. Christmas is coming. I don't want him outside Primark in Coventry Precinct selling the big issue. Anyway, obviously it's not working. Why aren't we, the Muslim why aren't we banning the Muslim Brotherhood? Why isn't it banned or considered a terrorist organization? Why aren't we is the question. But anyway, the Muslim Brotherhood, I'll try again, Tracy. I think this is what you're trying to say. The Muslim Brotherhood is banned or considered a terrorist organization in several countries. Correct. Primarily in the Middle East. Correct. Including Egypt, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Syria, and Jordan. Well, that's because, and she says that's due to perceived threats to national security, fostering extremism or supporting militant groups like Hamas. Well, and also because they would try and get rid of the dictators that run those countries that you've just said, right? That's just the truth of it. Other nations like Austria and Russia have also banned them, while France and Germany are considering restrictions, with the US initiating processes to label certain Muslim Brotherhood chapters. So then she goes on to say, why aren't we doing the same? I think that's, yeah. Why aren't we? Yeah, I understand that, Tracy. Good points. Good points. It's not just the Muslim Brotherhood that's the threat, though, is it? Lee Paul's trying to make a name for himself. F that. I don't care if they was attacked, mate. You're an intelligent person, aren't you, Paul? Then he says that they're evil people. The British people should be doing what the Irish are doing, not standing for it, marching and happy clapping ain't helping. I don't think you've really worked out what you're trying to say, have you, Lee? Go and have a lie down. Maybe get your daughter to write something for you. I don't know what that is. It's only a matter of time before breathing is considered racist, says Lee Entel 7251. Yeah, you're not far wrong there. All right, that's 44 minutes here. I've had enough now. I'm stopping. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for your contributions. Sorry it was short notice that I was going to do a show. I will be back tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. If you want to talk to me in the meantime, And the best thing you can do to help me is to join John Gaunt TV on YouTube. It's free. Just go John Gaunt TV, YouTube, it'll come up. And the first time you go there, it'll say, do you want to subscribe? Say yes. It doesn't mean you've got to pay anything. You don't. And then you'll get notified every time I'm doing a show. So do that. So that'd be good if you could. And if you want to donate something, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt and feel free to donate anything from $5 upwards. If you want to do a different sort of amount, you can just click the $sign on my YouTube page and you can donate there as well. Okay. All right. That's me finished for the day. Have a good rest of the weekend. I shall see you again on Monday. It'll be Monday at 6, unless something happens in between. Maybe Starmer's going to address the nation and tell us all to sleep easy in our beds tonight. Or maybe not. Right. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, hey, hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.